My name is Jimmy Nicole Nona and I'll be discussing the active transport. Active transport move a molecule from low concentration to high concentration. This is opposite to diffusion and osmosis, and because it is not the natural direction, energy is required to make it work. Active transport is a fundamental biological process essential for the movement of ions and molecules across the cell membrane against their concentration gradient. So cells that perform active transport have relatively large number of mitochondria. While we all know that ATP comes from mitochondria, it is also evident and important in our muscle cell and nerve cell. Nerve cell transmit signals which requires a lot of energy in our muscle cells because of our movement. In addition, there are three transporters, the uniport, symport, and antiport. Uniport transports one substance in one direction, while the symport transport two different substances in the same direction. However, the antiport transport two different substances in opposite direction. Active transport have primary and secondary. Primary active transport utilizes energy typically derived from adenosine triphosphate or ATP to pump ions or molecules against their concentration gradient. One of the classic examples is the sodium-potassium pump. It actively transports sodium out of the cell and potassium into the cell, maintaining the electrochemical balance necessary for cellular functions. Next is the secondary active transport. It involves the coupling of ion movement along their concentration gradient to drive the transport of another substance against its gradient. Symport and antiport systems exemplify secondary active transport.
Bulk cell transport. Bulk cell transport ay yung collective movements ng mga large quantities of substance tulad ng proteins or polysaccharides sa loob at labas ng cells. Yung bulk cell transport ay di tulad ng maliliit na molecules na nakakapasok or maaaring dumanagat sa cell membrane gamit yung passive processes like diffusion. Kasi yung mga larger quantities na to ay kailangan ng mga specialized mechanism due to their size and complexity. In bulk cell transport, the cell employs active processes like endocytosis and exocytosis. Endocytosis. Ito ay isang process kung saan ine-enclose ng cells ang mga big substance material na mula sa labas nito sa pamamagitan ng pagbalot sa kanyang cell membrane. At dito nabubuo ang vesicles or vacuoles. Ang endocytosis ay importante para sa pagdadala ng malalaking molecules papasok sa cells. Phagocytosis. Ang phagocytosis ay isang process ng active transport sa loob ng cell kung saan ang cell ay naglalabas-pasok ng liquid sa paligid nito. Sa pamamagitan ng phagocytosis, ang cells ay nagkukonsume ng maliliit na droplets ng liquid mula sa labas nito. Itinatransport ng cells ang liquid sa pamamagitan ng pagbuo ng maliliit na vesicles. Ang prosesong ito ay may secondary purpose, pagkuha ng substance mula sa paligid at disposal ng mga hindi kinakailangan ng cells. Usually, ito ay nangyayari sa mga cells na may acquisition efficiency ng liquid o solution sa kanilang paligid. Phagocytosis. Ang phagocytosis ay isang process ng active transport sa loob ng cell na kinabibilangan ng pag-inom o pag-encapsulate ng malalaking particles o iba't ibang material mula sa labas ng cell. Sa pamamagitan ng phagocytosis, ang cell ay naglalabas-pasok at nagpapadala ng mga specialized parts ng cell kilala bilang cytophodia upang makonquer at kainin ng mga particles o mikrobyo. Karaniwang ginagamit ito ng mga cell phagocytic tulad ng mga neutrophils at macrophages mula sa pagtatapon ng mga bakterya, virus o patay na cell sa katawan. Ang phagocytosis ay isang main part of analysis and defense ng immune system ng katawan. Exocytosis. Ito naman ay isang proseso ng paglabas ng malalaking molecules mula sa cells. Ang cells ay naghahanda ng mga vesicles na naglalaman ng mga substance at ang mga ito ay nagme-merge sa membrane ng cells. Naglalabas ng laman nito sa labas. All in all, ang bulk transport ay isang specialized mechanism na mahalaga para sumaayos ang paglipat ng malalaking molecules na nagsusuport sa pagpasok ng mga kinakailangang nutrients sa loob ng cell o paglabas ng particles ng mga molecules na kinakailangan para sa tamang function and interaction nito sa labas na kapaligiran.
Endocytosis process. A cell absorbs chemicals and particles by the process of endocytosis, which involves swallowing them in its membrane to produce vesicles. Phagocytosis, pinocytosis, and receptor-mediated endocytosis are the three primary forms of endocytosis. Pinocytosis is the process by which cells takes in fluids and solutes. Phagocytosis is the way white blood cells engulf and digest pathogens, and receptor-mediated endocytosis is the mechanism by which certain chemicals attach to cell surface receptors and are taken up by the cells. Significance. It enables the cell absorbs nutrients, eliminate waste, and control the concentration of chemicals in internal environment. Endocytosis is important by enabling cells to take up and eliminate infections. It also contributes to immunological response. Exocytosis, the process. The process by which vesicles inside the cell fuse with the cell membrane and release their contents outside the cell is called exocytosis, which is the opposite of endocytosis. The secretion of chemicals including hormones, enzymes, and neurotransmitters depends on this mechanism. Exocytosis is a process that releases molecules into the extracellular environment form of the cell. The release of neurotransmitters to transfer signals in the brain system, the secretion of digesting enzymes, and intercellular communication all depends on this. As for the summary, in both the endocytosis and exocytosis, the cell membrane plays a crucial role in the process during endocytosis. The cell membrane engulfs the material to be taken into the cell, forming a vesicle. In exocytosis, the vesicles containing the material to be released fused within the cell membrane, allowing the contents to be expelled from the cell. These processes are important for the cell to regulate its internal environment, communicate with other cells, and take in or eliminate substances as needed.